Princess Illyra's arrival at the Starcrest Academy was supposed to be a grand event. The Andari were a proud race, famous for their beauty, their advanced technology, and most of all, their strong psychic powers. Their children studied at the galaxy's best schools, and no one was more famous than the royal family. But this time, things were different. When Illyra entered the academy gates, there were no reporters, no excited whispers, and no students crowding to meet her. She sat in a floating hover chair, her legs thin and motionless, her dark eyes quiet but sharp. Her hair, silvery blue like all Andari royals, framed her pale face. Most of all, everyone noticed the communication device attached to her wrist, a small glowing screen that let her type messages, since she could not speak telepathically like her people. The other students pretended not to look, but Illyra saw their glances. She had gotten used to it. The Andari valued strength, power, and perfection. Illyra was the youngest princess, but she had never fit their idea of perfect. Because of her accident as a child, her body was weak, and her mind, though sharp, could not send or receive psychic messages. To her people, it was a tragedy. Some even whispered it was shameful. As she moved through the long, shining halls of the academy, students moved aside, not out of respect, but discomfort. She heard their whispers, picked up the fear in their eyes. Some were curious, some were cruel. The silent princess, they called her, though never to her face. Illyra's only friend was her aid robot. C1X had a round head and big friendly eyes. He hovered beside her, always ready to help. He made soft beeping sounds and sometimes told bad jokes to make her smile. But he was a machine, and Illyra longed for someone real to talk to. She watched her fellow students, humans, Andari, and many other species, laughing, chatting, and already making friends. Many of them were preparing for the upcoming bonding ceremony, where everyone would try to form psychic pairs. For the Andari, bonding was everything. It was how they shared thoughts, feelings, and sometimes even dreams. Without a bond, an Andari was seen as alone, almost incomplete. Illyra wanted to feel included, but she knew she was different. The principal had welcomed her politely, but even the teachers seemed unsure how to treat her. She wondered if coming to Starcrest had been a mistake. That night, as she sat by her window, watching the stars drift by, Illyra felt more alone than ever. She wondered if anyone would ever try to know her, not as a princess, not as someone disabled, but just as Illyra. Far away, she saw a new shuttle landing. The humans were arriving for the exchange program. Illyra had heard they were odd, unpredictable, and stubborn. She smiled a little, thinking that maybe, just maybe, the humans would bring something different to Starcrest Academy. The morning was filled with excitement as the human shuttle landed at Starcrest Academy. Students from different planets gathered in the open courtyard, eager to see the newcomers. Humans were still a new race in galactic society. Some aliens thought they were too simple, some thought they were brave. But everyone was curious. Eli Carter stepped off the shuttle, holding his small bag tightly. He was 17, with messy brown hair and a wide, honest face. Eli was not like the other human students. He didn't wear fancy clothes or walk with confidence. He felt nervous, but he was also very curious. This was his first time away from Earth, and everything looked so big and strange. As the human group was introduced, some students waved and smiled. Others whispered and stared. The Andari, with their shining eyes, looked at the humans like they were an experiment. Eli tried to smile at everyone, but mostly he kept his head down. Inside the main hall, the headmistress welcomed everyone. She spoke about peace, friendship, and the importance of bonding. Here at Starcrest, she said, we hope students from every world will learn together, and perhaps even bond together. Eli had read about the bonding ceremony before he came. It was a special tradition, where students tried to form a psychic connection with someone from another race. If the bond worked, they became a team for life, able to share thoughts and feelings. But for humans, This was difficult. Most humans didn't have psychic powers. They needed special technology to even try. After the welcome, the students explored the academy. Eli wanted to see everything, but he quickly felt lost in the maze of bright halls and alien voices. He watched a group of students laughing together and felt a pang of loneliness. No one seemed interested in talking to him. The other humans quickly formed their own group, leaving Eli on the edge. He wandered into the garden by mistake, a place filled with strange glowing plants. There he saw someone sitting alone, a girl in a hover chair, with silver blue hair and a small robot beside her. It was Princess Elira. Eli remembered hearing whispers about her on the shuttle. The silent princess, who could not bond like others. He hesitated, unsure if he should approach. But something about her loneliness reminded him of his own. He took a deep breath and walked over. Hi, he said softly. Elira looked up, surprised. She quickly typed on her screen. Hello, human. Are you lost? Eli laughed nervously. Yeah, I guess I am. This place is different. Elira smiled a little. It was the first real smile she had given in days. C1X, her robot, beaked cheerfully. You are in the royal gardens. Do you like plants? Eli looked at the glowing flowers and nodded. They're amazing. We don't have anything like this on Earth. For the first time, Elira felt a small spark of hope. Maybe this human was different. Maybe, just maybe, someone would try to know her, not as a princess, but as a person. After meeting Eli, Princess Elira felt a little lighter, but the feeling did not last long. Life at Starcrest Academy was not easy for her. Every day, she moved through shining corridors full of laughter and conversation, but it always felt like she was watching from the outside. Other students would glance at her, then look away quickly, pretending not to see. The Andari students were the worst. They were proud of their psychic powers and beautiful looks. They spoke in quiet telepathic voices, sharing secrets that Elira could never hear. When she passed by, they would stop talking, their eyes full of pity or discomfort. Even teachers seemed unsure how to act around her. Some treated her like fragile glass, others like she wasn't there at all. Elira spent most of her time in the royal gardens or in her private room. Her only regular company was C1X, her cheerful little robot. He did his best to make her smile, telling jokes or singing silly songs in his metallic voice. Why did the star go to school? To get a little brighter, he would say, and Elira would shake her head with a small smile. But C1X was not a real friend. He could not share thoughts, dreams, or fears. He could not sit quietly with her in the lonely evenings or understand how much it hurt to be left out. Every day, Elira watched the other students get closer, pairing up for the bonding ceremony. She knew what the ceremony meant. If she didn't find a bond, she would have to return home in shame, unpaired and alone. One afternoon, Elira rolled her hover chair to the window of her room and watched the sun set over the academy towers. The sky turned gold and pink, and stars began to shine. She thought about her family far away, the parents who wanted her to be strong, the siblings who never really understood her. Suddenly, there was a soft knock at her door. For a moment, she was surprised. Hardly anyone ever visited her room. She pressed the button to open the door and saw a delivery robot holding a small package. Gift for Princess Elira, the robot announced in a cheerful voice. Curious, she opened the box. Inside was a tiny flower, glowing gently in the dark. There was a note attached, written in awkward but neat handwriting. From Eli, I thought you might like something from the garden. Your human friend. Elira felt something warm grow inside her chest. Someone had remembered her. Someone cared enough to call her a friend. It was a small thing, but it meant the world. She placed the flower beside her bed and smiled, feeling less alone. Maybe, just maybe, Starcrest Academy had a place for her after all. And maybe, with a little luck, she could make one real friend. The next day, Eli walked through the academy with a mix of wonder and nervousness. Everything was still new. The floating classrooms, the students from dozens of planets, even the food in the cafeteria looked strange. But he couldn't stop thinking about Princess Elira and her quiet smile. He wondered if she liked his gift. After his morning classes, Eli felt tired and alone. The other human students had already made their own group. Sometimes he tried to join their conversations, but he never knew what to say. They talked about home, about old friends, about things Eli didn't understand. So after lunch, Eli slipped away and found himself wandering the academy's peaceful gardens. He walked between the glowing flowers, feeling the soft hum of energy in the air. That's when he saw Elira again, sitting by a small pond, her hoverchair parked beside her. C1X quietly adjusting a plant near her feet. Eli almost turned back, unsure if he should disturb her, but C1X saw him and waved a little metallic arm. "Hello, human friend," the robot said cheerfully. Elira turned, her dark eyes lighting up. She typed quickly on her screen and held it out. "Hi, Eli. Thank you for the flower. It is very beautiful." Eli smiled, feeling less nervous. He sat down on the grass beside her. "I'm glad you liked it. I didn't know if I was allowed to take it, but nobody stopped me." Elira smiled, her eyes shining. She typed again. "Most students don't come here. They think the gardens are only for royals, but I think anyone should enjoy them." Eli looked at the pond. Fish with glowing fins darted through the water. "Back home, I liked spending time in my grandma's garden," he said. It was quiet there too. They sat in silence for a while, just listening to the soft sounds of water and distant laughter. Eli didn't feel the need to talk too much. He liked that Elira didn't rush to fill the silence either. He felt comfortable, like he belonged. After a few minutes, Elira typed, "Do you miss home?" Eli nodded. "Sometimes, but I wanted to come here. I wanted to see something new, make friends, maybe find my place." Elira looked at him, and he could tell she understood. "Me too," her screen read. C1X buzzed happily. "You both have something in common. New friends, new beginnings." Eli laughed, and so did Elira, the sound soft and bright. For the first time, it felt like the heavy walls around her heart were beginning to fall. Before Eli left, Elira handed him a small glowing seed. "For your room," her screen said, "to remember the garden." Eli took the seed gently. "Thank you, Princess," he said. Elira shook her head, smiling, and typed one last message before he left. "Just Elira, please." The day of the bonding trials arrived, and excitement filled the air at Starcrest Academy. The grand hall was decorated with banners and lights from every world. Students from many different species lined up, nervous and hopeful, waiting for their turn. For most, the bonding trials were the most important event of their school life. Bonding was not just a tradition, it was a way to find a true partner, someone who could understand you at the deepest level. Princess Elira watched from the side of the hall, her hands resting in her lap. She wanted to feel excited, but she only felt nervous. The rules said every student could try to bond with anyone, but deep down, she knew the truth. Very few would even try with her. She remembered the looks, the whispers, and the way students always kept their distance. One by one, the Andari students paired off, their eyes shining with psychic energy. When they connected, a bright blue light appeared between them, showing their bond. Some cheered, hugging their new partners. Others tried and failed, their faces falling in disappointment. Even among the humans, some managed to make weak connections using special headbands and neural devices. Eli stood at the back of the line, feeling awkward. He tried to bond with two other human students. Both times, nothing happened. The test devices beeped, showing connection failed. The teachers smiled kindly, but Eli saw the disappointment in their eyes. "It's okay, Eli," one said. "Maybe you're just not ready yet." Meanwhile, Elira's turn came. She rolled her hoverchair to the center of the hall. Several students tried to bond with her, more out of politeness than real hope. One by one, they put their hands on the special bonding crystal, closed their eyes, and waited. Nothing happened. No light, no connection. Each time, Elira's hope fell a little more. Some students whispered behind their hands, "She can't bond. She has no voice," one said. "What's the point of trying?" Another replied. After 3 failed attempts, the teachers gently told Elira she could return to her seat if she wanted. She nodded, her heart heavy. She could feel the stares on her back as she moved away. No matter how hard she tried, she was always left alone. Eli watched all this with a growing sense of anger and sadness. He saw how the others ignored Elira, how quickly they gave up. He wondered why no one even tried to see her for who she really was. After the trials ended, the hall emptied. Elira sat quietly in a corner, staring at her hands. Eli walked over and sat next to her. He didn't say anything at first, but just being there made Elira feel a little better. Finally, Eli spoke softly. Maybe they just don't know how to look for the right kind of connection. Elira looked at him, surprised, and smiled a little. For the first time that day, she felt seen, not just as a princess, but as a person. The days after the bonding trials were quiet but heavy with meaning. Princess Elira moved through the academy with a small smile on her face, but inside, she felt tired. She watched as her classmates celebrated their new bonds, laughing and sharing secret thoughts. She felt left out, as if she was a shadow passing through a world that did not want her. Eli noticed this. Every time he saw her, his heart ached a little. He knew the others had judged her too quickly, without trying to understand her. He thought about the way she smiled at him in the gardens, the small gifts she gave, and the quiet strength he could see in her eyes. One evening, after classes had ended and the halls were mostly empty, Eli found Elira sitting alone on a bench near the glowing plants in the garden. The stars above twinkled softly, and a gentle breeze moved the leaves. Eli approached slowly, his hands in his pockets, unsure what to say. Finally, he sat down beside her. "Elira," he said softly, "I know the others don't understand you, but I do, and I want to try." She looked at him, her eyes wide with surprise. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, with careful fingers, Elira typed on her screen. "Try what?" Eli smiled, a little nervous but determined. "I want to bond with you. Not because you are a princess. Not because you have to. But because I want to." Elira blinked, the words sinking in slowly. She had never thought anyone would ask her that, especially not a human. The wind whispered through the garden as she considered the offer. Bonding was more than a ceremony. It was a connection between minds and hearts. Could she trust Eli with that? After a moment, she nodded, typing, "Yes, I will bond with you." Eli's face lit up, relief and joy mixing together. "Thank you, Elira. I promise I won't let you down." The Academy's rules allowed partners to bond, even if they were from different species, even if one had no psychic voice. It was rare, but not impossible. Eli and Elira were about to try something no one had ever seen before. That night, they met in a special chamber designed for bonding. The room was quiet, with soft blue lights and gentle hums of ancient technology. They sat facing each other, Eli holding Elira's hand gently. As the bonding process began, Eli's human mind reached out in ways no one expected. His thoughts were wild and full of emotions, but somehow, Elira's silent mind found a way to connect. Slowly, a warm light surrounded them, a sign of their growing bond. For the first time, Elira felt something she had never felt before, a connection that was real, deep, and true. When the light faded, Eli smiled and whispered, "We did it." Elira smiled back, her heart full of hope. Maybe this bond would change everything. The news of the unexpected bond between Eli and Princess Elira spread quickly through Starcrest Academy. Students whispered in hallways, some with disbelief, others with curiosity. The Andari had never seen such a bond before, A human and a silent princess connected in a way no one thought possible. Eli and Elira ignored the whispers as best they could, but the eyes watching them made it clear they were different. Some teachers studied their bond closely, fascinated by how it worked. Scientists from the Academy's research wing even asked to run tests, eager to understand the unique connection. The bond was not like the usual psychic links. When Eli and Elira connected, Eli's mind acted as a bridge. He could feel Elira's thoughts and emotions, even though she could not speak telepathically. Through him, she found a voice she never had before. One afternoon, while sitting in the gardens, Eli closed his eyes and focused. Slowly, Elira's thoughts flowed through him. For the first time, others could hear her gentle voice, not through the screen on her wrist, but inside Eli's mind. It was soft, clear, and full of feeling. A crowd had gathered, watching in amazement as Elira spoke through Eli. Some students gasped, others smiled. For many, it was a new way to see the power of connection. But not everyone was happy. A group of Andari nobles saw the bond as a threat to their traditions. They whispered behind closed doors that this human was interfering with royal matters. Some argued that Elira was being used, that the bond was unnatural and dangerous. Despite the challenges, Eli and Elira stayed strong. They spent hours learning to communicate through their bond, sharing dreams, thoughts, and even feelings. Eli taught Elira about human emotions, and she showed him the quiet strength of silence. Their bond grew deeper each day, surprising everyone. Teachers began to believe that differences, whether physical, mental, or cultural, could be overcome with trust and respect. One evening, as the stars shone brightly above the academy, Eli and Elira sat together on a balcony. Eli reached out and gently took her hand. "We're changing things," he said softly. Elira smiled, her eyes shining. "Yes, not just for us, for everyone who feels left out." Their bond was more than a connection. It was a symbol of hope, a sign that the galaxy could be a place where everyone belonged, no matter their differences. Not everyone at Starcrest Academy was happy about the bond between Eli and Princess Elira. Whispers and rumors began to spread like wildfire through the corridors. Some students looked at them with suspicion, and a few teachers exchanged worried glances. The idea of a human bonding with a royal Andari, especially one who was disabled, was hard for many to accept. A secret group called the Pure Andari Movement quietly formed. They believed the Andari should only bond with their own kind. They thought Elira's bond with Eli was dangerous and against tradition. Their leader, a proud Andari noble named Varric, spoke to others about protecting the purity of their people. One evening, Varric and his followers sneaked into the Academy's main control room. They wanted to sabotage the Academy's systems during the upcoming Unity Festival, a celebration of peace and connection. If the festival failed, they hoped to turn the school against Eli and Elira. Meanwhile, Eli and Elira trained hard to strengthen their bond. They wanted to show everyone that their connection was real and powerful, but the tension around them made their days heavier. On the day of the Unity Festival, the Academy's Great Hall filled with students, teachers, and guests from many worlds. The air buzzed with excitement and hope. Eli and Elira stood side by side, ready to demonstrate their bond. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out. A loud alarm blared through the building. Panic spread among the crowd. The Pure Andari movement had hacked the systems, causing chaos. Eli grabbed Elira's hand through their bond. "Stay close," he whispered. Using their unique connection, they worked together to find the source of the problem. Eli's quick thinking and Elira's sharp mind helped them access the security systems. Slowly, they began to restore the lights and stop the alarm. While the crowd watched, Eli and Elira showed incredible teamwork. They moved through the dark halls, solving puzzles and bypassing locked doors. Their bond was the key to success. Finally, they reached the control room. Varric and his followers tried to stop them, but Eli and Elira stood firm. Using their combined strength, they convinced the guards to arrest the saboteurs. When the lights returned, the crowd cheered. Eli and Elira stood before everyone, shining not just with light, but with the power of their bond. The academy leaders praised their courage and teamwork. The pure Andari movement was exposed, and their plans stopped. The Unity Festival continued, stronger than ever. Eli looked at Elira and smiled. "We showed them," he said quietly. Elira nodded. "Together, we are stronger." After the Unity Festival, the academy buzzed with new energy. Students who once whispered behind Eli and Elira's backs now looked at them with respect. Their bond had shown everyone that true strength comes from understanding and trust, not from power or appearance. But Eli and Elira knew they had to prove themselves even more. Some still doubted the power of their connection, especially among the higher ranks of the Andari. To change hearts and minds, they needed to face a real challenge together. That challenge came sooner than they expected. One morning, alarms sounded throughout the academy. The main power core was failing. If it shut down completely, the entire academy could lose life support, communication, and protection systems. Panic spread fast. Eli and Elira were in the middle of their classes, but as soon as they heard the news, they rushed to the control center. The head technician explained that the core was overloaded, and no one had been able to fix it. Eli's engineering skills kicked in immediately. He studied the complex panels and readouts, looking for a solution. Elira, connected to him through their bond, could feel his focus and calm him when frustration tried to creep in. Together, they worked to understand the problem. Eli's hands moved quickly, rewiring circuits, adjusting controls. Elira's sharp mind helped him see patterns and risks he might have missed. Minutes felt like hours, but they didn't give up. Their bond allowed them to communicate silently and quickly, faster than any technology alone could. Outside the control room, students and teachers gathered, watching anxiously. Slowly, the warning lights stopped flashing. The power core stabilized. Cheers filled the hallways. The head technician smiled and said, "I've never seen teamwork like this before. You saved Starcrest Academy." The news spread across the galaxy. Humans and aliens alike praised Eli and Elira for their courage and skill. More importantly, the Academy's rules changed. New policies were made to welcome students of all kinds, especially those who might have been left behind before. The message was clear. Differences were not weaknesses. They were strengths. Eli and Elira stood on the Academy's tallest balcony, looking out at the stars. Eli held her hand, feeling their bond stronger than ever. "We did it," Eli said softly. Elira smiled. "Yes, for all of us." Their story became a symbol, a story told in classrooms and homes. It reminded everyone that acceptance and friendship could overcome even the biggest obstacles. And so, a new era began at Starcrest Academy, where no one was left out, and everyone had a place to shine.